Hello everyone and welcome to this video of our Python tutorial series. In this video we will be covering a data type known as tuple. In our previous video we learned about lists and how to create them and perform operations on them. So let's create a list first of all. A list equals to 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's my list and let's create a tuple now. A tuple equals to 1, 2, 3. Let's check the data type of both our variables, a list and a tuple. We have stored same values in both of our list and tuple. We have declared both of them in a similar way. The only difference between the declaration of a list and a tuple is the brackets which we are using. In list we use square brackets, in tuples we use parentheses or round brackets. There is also one more similarity in list and tuple, which is both of them are heterogeneous. We can store any data type, multiple data type within a single list or single tuple. So what actually is the difference between both of them? Let's add a value in our list. Okay, so I know that I can use append function for that, and if I append 4 in my a list variable, my a list variable becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, I can update list values. Let's say I want to update my first value, that is the value at 0 index, by let's say numeric 1 instead of string 1. So I can directly do this. So if I check my list now, I got 1 in integer, 2, 3, 4 in string. Let's try to perform a similar updation operation like this in tuple. A tuple 0 equals to 1. Python threw us a type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. It clearly mentions that we cannot assign items in our tuples. Let's try to append it. Say a tuple dot append 4. Tuple object has no attribute append. There are similarities between a tuple and a list, but what is the difference? The difference is of mutability. Now what is mutability? Mutability is ability to undergo a change. Our lists are mutable and our tuples are immutable. What does that mean? Here we have updated our value of list at index 0. It was previously a string 1 ONE, and after the updation it is an integer 1. Our list has undergone a change, which means that the lists have ability to undergo changes. Lists are mutable. Similarly, if we try to perform the same operation with a tuple, we got an error. We tried to append any element in our tuple, we got an error. Let's try to delete any element in our tuple. We got a type error again. Tuple object does not support item deletion. Our tuples do not support item deletion. Our tuples do not support item assignment. Our tuple do not support appending because tuples are immutable in nature. Once a tuple has been declared, it cannot undergo any change. We can only access its values. Nothing else can happen. However, we can delete a tuple as a whole, but we cannot delete its individual elements. If I just delete a tuple and then try to access a tuple, I got error saying a tuple is not defined. Now I'll have to redeclare a tuple, and if I check again, my a tuple is there. But what if we have already declared a tuple, but now we desperately wants to update its value? We have no choice other than to update its value. What can we do? How can we do that? There's a little trick in this. We know how type conversion works, and we know that our tuple is a collection and so is list. So what will happen if I convert a tuple to a list? Let's say I am converting a tuple to list. As you can see, the output here is in square brackets, which clearly specifies that the data returned by this command is a list. And we know that we can update lists, but we cannot update tuple. Let's say I am introducing a new variable called x and assigning it the list value of a tuple. Our x is 1, 2, 3, same as the values stored in a tuple, 1, 2, 3, but in list format. If we check the type of x, we have list. Now let's update the values we want to update. Our values are updated now, but now I will have to convert this list to a tuple again. So let's overwrite our variable a tuple as the tuple of x. We know that our x is a list and we have used the tuple constructor here of class tuple, which is mentioned here. And if we execute this command and check the output of a tuple, we got 1, 2, 3, we got an updated tuple. So if we want to update our tuple when we are in a desperate need of updation of a tuple, we can use this method by converting it to list, updating it, and then converting again it to tuple. Now we cannot do much with our tuples as we cannot perform assignment, deletion, nothing. They are immutable. But it does not mean that we cannot do nothing. We can use a function called as count. Let's declare a new tuple 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 1. And I want to know how many times our integer 1 has appeared in our tuple. I will just have to use a function called count, which is a tuple function which is also present in list, and I will just have to pass the value which I want to find. I got output as 4, which means the parameter passed here 1 is 4 times in our tuple z. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now as we cannot perform much operations on tuples, we only use tuples when we know that the whole values in our collection will not change for the whole program runtime. So that's when we use tuple, because they are just memory efficient as they are immutable and they are a bit fast compared to list just because they are immutable. So if you know that your values will not be changing in whole program, so instead of declaring list, you can declare tuples just to make your program a bit more efficient. Now let's cover a data type called Boolean. I've already introduced this data type in our data type and variables video, but now in this video we will get to know how they are useful and why do we need them. Before that, first of all, I'm making it clear again that there are only two Boolean values, true and false. T and F are capital, all of them are small. These are, we can say, keywords in Python, true and false. So how can we use our Boolean values? We know that there can only be two Boolean values, either true or false, yes or no, 0 or 1. So Boolean values are used in conditions where we have to check if a particular condition is being satisfied or not, and according to that we will process in program. If you have prior knowledge of programming, you definitely know about if and else conditions. That's where our Boolean values come in use. They are for comparison, they are for giving any condition. Now, how can we give comparison? How can we give condition? Now we know that 1 will always be equals to 0. So if I type 1 equal to 0, here equal to is a comparator operator, which means it compares the values on its left and the values on its right, and if they are equal it gives us true, and if they are not equal it gives us false. We know that 1 equal to 1 will always be true and 1 equal to 2 will always be false. Similarly, 1 plus 1 equal to 2 will be true because 1 plus 1 is 2 on our left side and we have already a 2 in our right side. We got true. Now there are other comparison operators too, like greater than and less than. Now let's check them. 1 is greater than minus 1, true. 2 is less than 1, false. Now there are other operators too, like greater than equal to, less than equal to, not equal to. So let's check them one by one. 1 greater than equal to minus 1, as we know that it should be true because 1 is greater than minus 1, but 1 greater than equal to 1 is also true because we have assigned that either the left value is greater than the right value or it can be equal to it. In both of the conditions we get true. Similarly, we have less than equal to operator. To know the significance of equal to and less than equal to, we can directly check if 2 is less than 2, we will get false. Now, the last operator which we will be covering in this video is not equal to. Not equal to, as the name suggests, that if one value is not equal to the other value, then we get true, and if they are equal, we get false. And to input not condition in Python, we use exclamation mark. So 1 not equal to 2 should be true. We got true. And 1 not equal to 1 is false. So experiment with tuples and experiment with these operators and find out in how many different ways they can work. That will be all for this video. Give a like and a comment to the video. Share it with your fellow learners. And if you liked the video, subscribe to our channel to continue getting more videos like this. Until next time.